1 o'clock on the dot. What's going on from the Superbook.com sports desk? I'm Robert Walsh. Nice win for the Titans last night over Green Bay. 27-17, fueled by a dominating offensive performance. Ryan Tannehill went 22 of 27 for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, while rookie wide receiver Treylon Burke had his highest output of the season, pulling in 7 balls for 111 yards. Derrick Henry added 87 yards and 1 score on the ground, and another to Austin Hooper. The Titans never trailed and have won 7 of their last 8. Bad news for the Titans, though. Offensive coordinator Todd Downing was arrested for DUI and speeding last night, the Williamson County Sheriff confirmed. Downing posted bond at nearly 7 a.m. The Predators beat the Islanders 5-4. Nashville has won 3 in a row, all at home, and this is their longest winning streak of the season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up, everybody? It's Victory Friday. Yeah, we don't get to say that very often.
Oh.
Victory Friday.
Yeah, Victory Friday. Oh, yes.
They
Victory
did it.
Friday.
They went to Green Bay. They got that thing
We
done.
play Monday,
man.
Tuesdays, Thursdays. I don't know if I like the Thursday and I don't know if I like playing on Thursday, but you like the long weekend though. I know that.
What do they get now typically? If you're a player and you play on Thursday, does the coach be like, I'll see you Monday or I'll see you Sunday, or when does he say I'll see you again?
Oh, probably Monday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Monday.
So
you get a long weekend and you got to come back. Now, the people who are injured may not, they be like, I see you tomorrow. I mean, and maybe not I see you, but the trainers will.
right. Somebody's going to see you in the building tomorrow.
So, that's unfortunate. So, well, they probably need a break. They had a few injuries there, but what a heck of a game by the Titans. I don't know if you want to start off with that or not. You are our MC there. But
well, we do have to acknowledge we're aware of what's going on with Todd Downing, arrested, charged with driving under the influence early Friday morning in Williamson County. He was pulled over at 3:49 a.m. Terry McCormick was the first guy that I saw with this. So I'll credit it to Terry. Yeah. He was taken into Williamson County Jail at 4:39. He was released at 6:46. Mike Vrabel essentially said this today. He's spoken to Todd. He's spoken to Amy Adams Strunk, that he and John Robinson have spoken to Amy, and they've all spoken to the league. He said the Titans will make sure the league has everything it needs in the investigation. He says coaches and players have a great responsibility as members of the community and the Titans organization, and as fathers and husbands and teammates to make great decisions. That was his statement. So that's what we got. That's what we got. So I
don't recall a coach ever getting suspended. Maybe I'm missing the boat there for getting. I know some DUIs happen. First thing that comes to mind, and I don't know if it was a DUI, was Andy Reid's
his son.
But naturally, that was a horrific, incident and a wreck and everything else. But I mean, nothing happening to a coach that. And he just got a speed ticket and a DUI. I don't recall any that ever happening. I don't know if that's happened. I know it had to at least happen one time where coach got a DUI, and I don't remember them doing anything. That could have changed with the CBA agreement, and they do things internally. But this is a unfortunate incident, and I want to say this: I don't know all the facts to what the stipulations are on everything that he got pulled over with his speeding and what his DUI number was and all those things. I have no idea. Obviously, I'm going to assume that he thought he was fine enough to drive home. I think we just need to be, instead of throwing him under the bus and they have Uber and all these things, we've all been there at some situation where we made a bad decision. That's kind of how I want to look at it. The reason why I can say that is because this only affected him. Now, it didn't affect, he didn't hit somebody, fortunately enough, thank you, bless, and nothing happened to him. So then you look at this case and you go, okay, from the outside looking in, you could just say, this is one that chalked up that you could say he made a bad decision, and he made it just I don't know, maybe had just a couple drinks and then drove, and you could test positive for a DUI, right? I don't know. I don't know all the stipulations that were involved here. But what I am going to do is give him I'm not going to throw him under the bus and, not give him let's wait for all the details and the facts come out. Now, I don't know the CBA and what their rules are for coaches. There definitely is for players. I just don't recall any of the other coaches. So let's make sure that we be mindful of, let's get the facts. And I'm actually, I'm just thankful that he didn't hurt himself or hurt someone else. And that let's move forward. And, he doesn't have a history or anything like that, at least that we know of having any incidents or anything like that. So let's give him a attaboy here and let the details come out and see where they go from here. But suspension, man, that's a tough one there for me. I don't know if he should be suspended. Man, that's what everybody's going to ask. I really, really don't. To be honest, a lot of people tough call.
A lot of people are tweeting out that this quote, and I found it in a story about a player getting suspended.
Right. See, and I don't think it's the same.
It applies to coaches.
I could be wrong, though. I definitely don't know the CBA. That's why I said that. I do not.
It says
the players, I've never thought they should get suspended unless, there's some, we got I don't even know the details of the Ruggs incident. Was there drinking and all those things involved in there with the Raiders, the Bama guy, the receiver there that crashed and blew up and hurt and just killed and destroyed people. Yeah. So naturally that's a whole different situation. That's why I brought up that this only impacts him at this time. Now it could impact other people, but it didn't. So is this one say, okay, we want to learn from this and move forward? I don't know how the NFL handles coaches compared to players. Should be somewhat similar, but I don't recall it.
Yeah, and what Blaine's referring to, and people have tweeted this out and put it everywhere on Twitter today, according to the NFL's policy and program for substances of abuse, absent aggravating circumstances, discipline for a first offense DUI is suspension without pay for 3 games. Discipline for a second or subsequent offense is 8 games. But this was in a story about a player. It's the place where I found it. And of course,
I don't know if the coaches kind of abide by the same CBA. Now, some people say, oh, well, absolutely. But there's been some coaches pulled over for DUI, and I don't recall them ever get suspended. But I wasn't paying attention to the coaches and if they were on the sideline or not. I just don't recall it. So this is here. I think it's something that should be handled internally, and maybe, he just go to or be part of some training or something like that. I don't know. I just can say this. When you make a bad decision, these are the kind of values that I teach my son. You make a bad decision, hopefully it doesn't, and it didn't in this case, hurt anybody outside of you or yourself. Now, how are you responding to this bad decision, and what did you learn from it? That's kind of where I go with this. Because I don't know him having a pattern or history of doing something like this. He went unscathed and nobody was injured and he wasn't. So I'm a let him, like, okay, well, we're going to punish you, but the punishment is not going to be something real severe, like suspending them, at least from my point of view, for 3 games, unless that's just in the CBA and they say that's what we go by. Because remember, there was a time there when the sheriff, Roger Goodell, was given too much for penalties for off-the-field incidents, and then he came back and kind of retracted and then started doing 2 less, and so then I don't know, that's players, and then now it's in the CBA, and it's just something structured that maybe the coaches follow too at the same time. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll give I gave Troy Vincent a call. He hadn't called me back, but I just want to generally just ask him about are coaches and players all dealt with in the same arena as in the CBA? Or is it a little bit different?
There's Mike Herndon, who is works for PaulKaharski.com now. Has worked for a number of different places. He tweeted about this and said some stuff about what happened with Downing. He said Jets offensive line coach John Benton got a DUI in March, and as far as I know, he hasn't even served a suspension.
See,
I Googled that guy's name, and all I can find is when he initially got in trouble. I can't find any follow-up that he got suspended.
And he's still on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't ever recall coaches, because as a player, you always just say, well, the coaches should be held to the same standard or higher than the player. But it never worked out that way. when it came to Roger Goodell, because most people don't know who assistant coaches are unless you're in a OC, DC, or the head coach.
Right.
The assistant coaches, people don't even know who are some of the linebacker coach, the D line, O line. No, most people don't know their names off the cuff like that. So so this will be interesting, because then you have to start thinking about if he does get suspended, Downing gets suspended. Who would be making the calls? And to me, it goes straight to Kelly and O'Hara, who's the quarterback's coach, and Kelly, who's the passing game coordinator. At least that's his title.
Right.
I don't know how much he's implementing his passing game into the system and how much clout he has. But obviously, the Titans look really good in their passing game against Green Bay. Wow. So now that's transition right there.
That's nice. Good radio work. Hey, Ryan Tannehill, that was his best game since September of last year, yardage-wise.
Wow. That was fantabulous. You know what? Remember I said the last game, they showed glimpse of, this team could do some things in the playoff. Now they opened the window even further, and they kind of put it all together. And I'm interested to see what people thought of Downing's play calling, because everything was in rhythm and flow. Reason why? They never got behind the chains. Why? They only got 2 penalties. Yeah. I think 2 penalties. They didn't have very many penalties. The referees let them play at both sides. Both sides. I saw some penalties that weren't called. They should have been penalties, whether it was against the Titans or them. Both sides. And so I kind of like that. Tannehill was in rhythm. It's one of those times. It was the best, really, I saw him in that kind of rhythm, even though he got sacked 2 or 3 times. The line held up pretty solidly, did a decent job. Henry was the key cog of everything that they did. Even though he didn't have the numbers that everybody's all pumped up about and jacked up about. Everything revolved about Henry. They had 5 and 6 defensive linemen out there to play against this. So they had to change up a little bit of what they do.
Yep.
And then they was out there, man to man. And then, my man Alexander fell asleep there at the end. And I really like his game, too.
He's
so
good.
It was hilarious to see that happened, because he was like, they're going to just run the clock out. And they needed one more first down to make sure to get in there, and they let it fly. Let's see if our young Burks can make a play on an all-pro Pro Bowl player. So just the flow, the passing game, the running game mix, I loved it. This may have been, you guys correct me because I'm always in the moment and can't remember some games. This was the best complete game I've seen out of the Titans. Offensively, defensively, and there was no big special teams, but just the way they played, they complimented each other in the highest regard to me in this game. And every time they controlled the game, the entire game, and every time that the Packers had a shot of kind of closing the gap, they couldn't, or they made a bad throw, or they couldn't, they got, third down, they couldn't, convert on third down. And then the Titans will go down and shut them up real quick and go score and widen the margin. Every time it seemed like Green Bay could get back in it, they just couldn't do it. So I don't know if Green Bay is just not that good of a team. They have Aaron Rodgers, so obviously he wasn't at his best. He made some great throws. You go, wow. And then he made some throws like, man, you couldn't complete that. He was wide open. So, he didn't have his A game, and I don't know why he didn't, but he didn't. So, and the Titans took advantage of it. So hats off. We saw a lot of some of these plays before, but they put them all in when something, and I'm going to call them the trick play, finesse, with the jump throw, the speed sweep. We had, Tannehill looking to the sideline, a direct snap. Then they even did the direct snap with no faking out. So it was the culmination of all the plays and how they were in rhythm and flow with what was going on in the game. So I thought it was, at least at worst case scenario, Todd Downing's best play calling game. So if everybody liked him, but I thought it was in real form. I always usually have about 5 plays that I like, why'd he run that? And usually everybody else is, 20, 30 plays. They just don't like the play calling. And you're never going to be perfect. Nobody is perfect. Speaking of Todd Downing, nobody is perfect, not me, you, or anybody else. So just know that, even in whatever profession you do. He's trying to get better, and it came all together, man. And it was fabulous to watch. I felt really proud to be a Titan and a fan, and to see that they performed at that level on that big stage on TV was pretty impressive. And you know, you can sing about certain guys, but man, I thought it was a great team effort. I mean, all the receivers stepped up. Just think they went through a game where they didn't even have a reception, and then all of a sudden this game they look like world beaters. From Woods to NWI to Nick Wexler-Kina to Hooper. I mean, you know, everybody could Chig. I mean, everybody contributed. Mm-hmm. So when you go look at the Titans now, you start saying, man, we got to stop Henry, but man, we got to play this honest. So it was fabulous to watch. I'd love to hear what the fans thought or what you thought about it, because man, I was jacked. You know, I'm only concerned, you know, they got unscathed. Well, Fulton with the hammy, so he's got extra days. I'm hoping that helps him. But the Archer injury, that there concerns me. And also the kicker, because he did miss an extra point. And the ball kept telling to the right. And people saying in warm-ups Lambeau was missing him. Oh. I was like, what? He's missing in warm-ups? Like with nobody? I'm like, uh-oh. So that did happen, but man, it was a great game. We can kind of talk about different plays and, you know, everything else. But
we got Buck Reising next. We can talk about it all with him.
Yeah, but the play calling was
on point.
Yeah.
Buck Reising will join us next, so we'll talk to him. He's still in Green Bay, as far as I know. He's probably sitting in the airport right now, the beautiful Appleton Airport. So we will talk to Buck Reising next. If you want to talk on the phone, hold. After Buck, we can take calls for the rest of the show. Whatever you want to talk about, it's Blaine and Mickey, Victory Friday on 104.5 The Zone.
Serving the Southeast since 1966, Coolray Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical takes pride in being your one-stop shop for total home comfort. The team at Coolray also knows that the holiday season can be chaotic enough as it is. So with the shopping, food, preparation, hosting, and everything in between, that's why they're waiving the service fee at your next heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical visit requires a repair. That's peace of mind plus some extra money back in your pocket. And Coolray won't just send anyone to your home. All of their technicians, plumbers, and electricians are trained, state licensed, and trust certified, meaning you won't only have your problem fixed, you'll also experience great service along the way. So are you ready to finally fix that nagging issue you've been putting off, or the one that may have just popped up? Simply head to thenewcoolray.com to schedule your next visit online and on your own time, or browse their variety of open career opportunities. That's Coolray.com.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Yep. Victory Friday, Tennessee Titans. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We'll take phone calls, but let's take a phone call from Buck Reising, who is somewhere in beautiful Wisconsin right now, courtesy of Two Rivers Ford, home of the non-commissioned salespeople. They bring you Buck Reising on the days that he shows up on this program. Buck, what can you see out your window now as you travel through Wisconsin?
Snow. Actually not much snow. They got a little bit last night, but it's a lovely place up here. I'm looking forward to coming home, though.
Oh, okay. Well, tell us about your experience there in Lambeau. That was your first time or no?
It was my first time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Lambeau Field is a really, really incredible venue.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to one of the guys that works security down there pregame. I got down on the field probably about 3 hours before kick. And just kind of the history of it, how the lower bowl is original, going back to like the 1950s, and they've just incrementally upgraded it over the years. And obviously the atmosphere was phenomenal. Despite the Packers kind of having at this point now 4-7, a down season, but to be able to experience that, get a little bit of snow, but not enough to cause problems, was it was a really, really nice scene.
Well, it was really cold, though. I'm going to ask a little more onto this. Kind of take us through the weather, and then since it was your first experience, me and Mickey have explained it because we've both been there, like what it was like getting on the, Uber or however you got to the stadium, and what it was like going through the neighborhood and everything else, which was a little surprising for most.
So the weather-wise, it was, obviously wind chill got down there. The wind picked up as things went along, which obviously, was going to impact the game. To play tackle football in weather like that, it seems inhuman to me. But Blaine, you know this, like you got to be a certain kind of person to do that for a living anyway, to play professional football. So not necessarily considering all the risks and implications of what you're doing in real time. The experience for me at Lambeau, I stayed literally 2 blocks from the stadium, guys. So like I had been asked by several other people about the idea of, what did you enjoy the drive in? It's kind of it's just a bunch of ranch houses, and then all of a sudden there's this massive monument to professional football sitting in the middle of the neighborhood, and I didn't really have that because I was already in the middle of the campus of Lambeau Field. In fact, I had been sitting on my butt for so long in the press box that I decided to walk home about 2 blocks and get some steps in the meantime. But yeah, the atmosphere, the aesthetic, they've got a really cool bar scene around there, of which I did not partake at the time, but was interested in on the way home.
Buck Reising, our guest, again, courtesy of the good people at Two Rivers Ford, home of the non-commissioned salespeople. I don't even really know where to start. I know there's the stuff with Todd Downing. We can get to that before we go. But on the field last night, if we talk about the evening that he had with the Titans offense, that's the most passing yards for Ryan Tannehill since, I think, September of last year. They clicked on all cylinders. Traylon Burks looked like a number 1. Derrick Henry got 30 touches. Chig had a great catch. Austin Hooper, 2 touchdowns. There were so many things that looked great with the offense last night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they look like they're supposed to look. Like that's what we were accustomed to seeing in 2019 towards once they started to figure things out about halfway through the season, 2020, when they had one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL that year. And then obviously, as far as the franchise is concerned, was one of the best offenses in the history of the franchise, going back to the Houston Oilers. So no small feat, but yeah, that in theory is what it's supposed to look like when the quarterback has even a fraction of extra time as far as protection is concerned. Traylon Burks providing a legitimate downfield contested catch, 50-50 ball threat once you load the box up, and obviously in an effort to stop Derrick Henry, they held Derrick under 100 yards, but still he found ways to make plays, and he did what they needed him to do. It doesn't need to be a crazy statistical performance for Derrick for them to have a good day and for them to win a football game. Now, obviously, him throwing a touchdown, running for a touchdown, all those things help. But there was a freedom of movement in this offense that it seemed just the simple addition of Traylon Burks to the wide receiving core, allowing so much more to be opened up for the rest of the guys, and a little bit of additional time in pass pro that really kind of showed us what this thing could be if they are going to be able to sustain any kind of momentum that they've showed now from Denver, where it took them about a half to get in gear, and then obviously went on to win that game with their passing game, operating independently of their rushing attack when Denver did well to shut down Derrick. And then a more complimentary version of it last night on the road in a big spot to end the reigning, back-to-back MVPs basically season at 4-7.
It was interesting. We wondered what they might do with Ben Jones out. Will they just stick Corey Levin in? No. They moved Brewer to center, and here comes Dylan Radins out again to jump in the mix. By the way, Titans are still undefeated when he plays.
Yeah,
when he starts.
That's crazy.
When
You
he
told me that
starts.
stat.
Yep.
Did you know that, Buck?
Okay. I think I saw that floating around on the internet, and I just kind of scoffed and kept scrolling. But
It is what it is.
but hey, you know what? Hey, listen, to his credit, he did pretty well in pass protection last night, which has kind of been the knock on him. Like he wasn't great in moving people off the ball and as far as executing their run blocking assignments. But I thought in going back and watching a bit of it this morning, in between calling various law enforcement agencies to try and figure out what the hell happened to the offensive coordinator. I thought that Radins was fine, and it's about putting your best five out there. That best five, it would be rewarding to say
That's
for
what
the
they
Titans, for an organization. That would be hugely rewarding for them to say that Dylan Radins, if called upon, can be a part of their best five.
Buck Reising, our guest from the Buck Reising Show and the install in A to Z Sports and somewhere in Wisconsin right now.
Well, Buck, we've talked about the offense and how sufficient or efficient they were in this game, and we hadn't seen anything like that so far this season. But was this a product of Green Bay's defense? Because they implemented some different things. They were doing 5 and 6 defensive linemen throughout the game, and it was just daring them to throw anyway. But or is this everything came together with Ryan Tannehill in the second game back?
Well, they probably saw what Denver did against the Titans, because they also played with five, and I think I saw a couple of 6-man fronts out there for Green Bay last night. Yeah. So they probably looked at that game plan and said, okay, if we're going to stop the thing that they do the best, here's how we're going to do it, or here's how we're going to have the most success doing it, and then dare them to throw. And they were very happy to take advantage of that. Like I said, Treylon Burks having that kind of performance. It's just kind of, it's the thing that you've been missing, right? It's the explosive play element at any given point. And, not to take the 51-yarder out of the equation, because obviously everybody thought they're just going to run the ball, try to get a first down and kneel it out, instead of just kind of, kicking them in the groin and saying, all right, bleep you, we're going to get the first down and 51 yards on your neck. And in this game, Matt LaFleur, after you let Devontae Adams catch 3 touchdown passes on our head back in 2020. So obviously those things, outside of putting Blaine, which I'm sure you speak to better than I can, the idea of just having something put on film so that a defense has to prepare for it, even if it's not something that you're going to do all the time, just to have that extra element of something for a defense to prepare for, so you can do a couple of different things outside of what you showed in the previous week. But as far as Green Bay, their rushing defense, that's as good as they have played all year. They have not held an NFL team under 100 rushing yards at all this season. Their best performance was against Tampa Bay, who is arguably the worst rushing attack in football so far. So to see the Titans take advantage of some downfield opportunities when that box is stacked is the kind of thing that you were hoping to see all year long. And for once, the protection did well. Dennis Daly had moments where Preston Smith just worked him. But for the most part, it was a consistent performance to allow those passing opportunities to kind of manifest and take place.
Before I go into the defense, I guess, we're on with Buck Reising from 104.5 The Zone, Buck Reising Show. Hooper, he kept showing up. Chig had a great catch. We can kind of go down the list. Woods, Trees, played well, 60, almost 70 yards receiving. What did you think about just the game plan in general by Downing and his play calling? Because that's always been the question. I thought this was his best play calling game altogether. And the reason why I could say that in my mind is because he never got behind the chains. He never had penalties. The referees let him play. There were definitely penalties out there. They did not call on both sides of the ball. I saw one egregious one by Brewer with the hold. They didn't even call that. He grabbed a guy around the neck. I just kind of like that. But
like 41-yard gain, wasn't
it?
Yes.
It was. So they let him play. So, what did you think, just all in all, of just how everybody was implemented in the offense?
to kind of add an extra layer of that, they were hardly penalized at all last night.
Right,
They had
2 penalties, I think.
Five, and one was a pretty significant one on special teams. That had to start a drive behind the 10. So not ideal, but still, I mean, I thought because speaking to your idea of not getting behind the sticks, right, not getting behind early in the down, the penalties or lack thereof allowed this to be a more free-flowing and functional operation. They're not getting an NPF false start or an Aaron Brewer hold. He had one, as you mentioned last night, on a massive game by Derrick Henry. But certainly that being a big part of it, the operational penalties were not a factor last night, and I think that matters in a big way. Now, as far as diversity of game plan, that's as good a game as Todd has called. They felt like they were in a flow, a rhythm for really the first. They've had start and stop moments where that's been the case, but never a complete performance like that thus far in 20. Frankly, I haven't seen them have a complete performance like that offensively since they kind of took it to Kansas City in Nashville last year, 27-3, and even then still had some operational stuff that they could have stood to clean up a little bit. But you're speaking of the tight ends and Hooper. I'm glad to see him getting more targets. He's obviously a factor in the passing game. I respect the idea that they need a tight end to block, but whatever gets that Jeff Swain screen to be a Conquo screen instead, to where there's actually the potential of yards after the catch and a first down that was easily converted by a player who even has above even average mobility. To see Jeff Swain kind of lumber and then fall short when there was just wide open green grass in front of him has to frustrate a lot of Titans fans. But yeah, for all the bad headlines that Todd Downing is getting this morning, it's a shame because he really, for a variety of reasons, it's a shame. But given the criticism that he has been under professionally, that would have alleviated a lot.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with Buck Reising from the Buck Reising Show here on 104.5 The Zone. Now to the defense. 19 carries to, 56 yards or something like that, that they held them to. How were they able to do that and then put them in a bind where they can then just get after the quarterback? And, Aaron Rodgers still had time to throw the football. He just couldn't find guys open, to be honest. He was trying. It was just guys weren't open. Yeah,
well, the one sack that they had by Jeff was a covered sack. I thought the secondary held up quite well in that game. And as far as mitigating the run, because that's, of course, what Green Bay has done better than anything else so far this season, I thought it was a credit to the guys inside, Jeff, Tart, Kevin Strong getting some action in there to force those running backs to bounce back outside to prolong the play, to make them have to cover more ground to try and make a play. And obviously guys able to clean things up on the edges that way. I thought they were sound in their gap assignments. I thought Monty Rice played really well. Yeah. We've seen that now in back-to-back weeks, to his credit, as they continue to, look at a better defensive life, ironically enough, without Zach Cunningham on the field, be it Dylan Cole or Monty Rice. And then as far as Rodgers, I thought LaFleur, to his credit, because Aaron Rodgers had one or two throws. He had a couple of nice gains to Randall Cobb where it's like, okay, he's got it. Like he can do something here. And I know there's conversation heading into that game about him dealing with a thumb injury, and I'm certain that has some impact. But he was inaccurate at times in ways that were kind of shocking. Yep. And they had a pretty nice game plan designed for him to just get the ball out to the hashes to kind of keep the defense moving laterally, to try and wear those guys out, to try and get guys in space and not really push. They had moments where they did push the ball down the field, but really not as many as they were just trying to get the ball out laterally and allow those guys to make plays. They were having success with it, certainly, in the first half, and credit to Mike Vrabel and Shane Bowen and the defensive players for kind of keying on that and mitigating those opportunities as the game wore on.
Well, dare I say, Buck, and only this is fitting for you because this is probably what you would do. I'm starting now to believe that they can possibly be a number one seed in the AFC. Am I getting ahead of myself?
No, because they looked better last night offensively than any point down the stretch when they did end up being the number one overall seed last year. And, the Kansas City loss is obviously going to be critical to playoff jockeying. At this point, you could use a little help from, for example, the Chargers this coming weekend to kind of bring them back to earth as the Bills have done in the AFC East. A couple of bad results for them allowing the Dolphins to kind of pull ahead. So I think they're completely capable. The loss of Danico Autry for however long it ends up being, fantastic news for it not to be a season-ending injury. But the defense still held serve, and as long as they can do that and put together even a slightly above average passing game, like they're a legitimate threat. And based on what we've seen thus far, for them to be rounding into form, or theoretically rounding into form at this point in the season, that's about as rewarding a sign as a Titans fan could have for what it is that this team might be capable of doing.
Well, with Buck Reising from the Buck Reising Show.
But Mike Vrabel was coach of the year last year. Is he doing an even better job this year?
Eesh.
Yeah, but it's a way too crowded of a field, and
the guys from New York are going to win it. Yeah, or Vikings.
Well, not even that. I mean, Nick Sirianni,
Eagles.
Pete Carroll are probably they're probably more. There's going to be more love for those guys. But yeah, Mike's doing a hell of a lot better. I mean, I can't say a hell of a lot better job. It was impressive what they did. What they are doing this year is more impressive. But people get caught up in the storylines more than the actual merit of what it is that's being accomplished. And to Pete Carroll's credit, they have done so well to win in spite of Russell Wilson not being on the roster anymore, and to kind of getting a better version of themselves without him there. To have both New York teams this kind of relevant. Obviously, the Jets have a big game coming up in New England this coming Sunday, so you may see that kind of fall back to earth. But all four of those teams are above 500 this year. And then there's Mike McDaniel, who we haven't even talked about. The Dolphins are such a fun watch, and there is not a better example of a coach maximizing their most important player. Mike has done it with a lot of different guys, but what Mike McDaniel is helping Tua do within that offense is as dangerous as anything in the sport right now. So the field is far too crowded, even if Mike is doing a better job this year.
Hey, on the way out, just what's next in the Todd Downing thing? Mike Vrabel addressed it a little bit today and, gave a little bit of a statement. We've looked, Mike Herndon had tweeted there was a Jets coach who got arrested for DUI, and we could never find anything about a suspension or anything. Any idea what's next?
And before you answer there's something here with Pro Football Talk. I did not know this. Buck may know this. The NFL has a policy against alcohol on team planes or buses. The league has started an investigation regarding whether the rule was broken in the Titans offensive coordinator, Todd Downing's case, and the Titans have, gave them all the information and handed all the information that they know. So I did not know that.
Sure. Well, I did know that, and as far as
that was not the case when I played.
Well, no, Blaine, it wasn't the case on Monday night when Taylor Heineke has a full cooler of beer next to him. And
right, that's
video.
What, yeah. Right. See, that's what I'm saying. That people, that's.
So I mean, it's because I thought about quote tweeting the Florio thing and being like, oh, so are we expecting a $10 million? What was it, a $10 million fine and suspension for a year of John Robinson and Mike Vrabel during the COVID situation, where Pro Football, respectfully, Mike Florio, who does a really, really good job on the whole, but I did think that there are some of those headlines can be inflammatory from time to time.
Right.
The league will, investigate, because the optics of the only game that was on television last night, and instead of talking about the game, we're talking about the guy who's most responsible for putting together a successful game plan and beating the back-to-back MVP at home that way. In Todd Downing is, he's got a mugshot on SportsCenter this morning and is being talked about all across the country, as opposed to, Ryan Tannehill and Traylon Burks and Jeffrey Simmons and Derrick Henry, all these things that the NFL loves. They're reactive, and they are reacting to bad press in a big spot. And as far as what's next, the NFL does have a 3-game, somewhere buried in the rule book is a 3-game suspension policy when you are charged with DUI that way.
For coaches?
It seems that for blanket, basically, players, coaches, but like even Isaiah Wilson. Now Isaiah Wilson had his own problems, but Isaiah Wilson did not receive a suspension of any kind of note due to the DUI that he had in 2020. So it seems that the NFL is kind of content to, let the headlines blow by, not let the clubs delegate themselves and handle punishment internally. Mike Vrabel kind of deferred to, we're still gathering information at this time, which is a good way of saying, hey, I'm not commenting on any of this. I don't know about drinking on planes when I was a player or when I was a coach in Houston or when I'm a coach now. Like, I don't know anything about that. And I'm not going to comment on that. So I think honestly, I think it's very much at the ownership's discretion. So Amy Adams Strunk has strong feelings about this. There will be some in-house punishment for Todd Downing, but the length of it or severity of it seems kind of arbitrary based on the club.
Got you.
Buck, appreciate the time. Get yourself to the airport and get yourself back to Nashville and do your best to stay warm.
Safe travels.
No, this was a lovely way to kill the car ride. I just pulled up to the airport now.
Very nice.
We're sitting here under a nice campfire, and our wood is burning right here in the studio.
I heard Robert has. You guys get the special treatment when Robert's in there. So
He always takes care of us. He's trying to, like Lucas is trying to take your job, Buck. Robert is trying to take Lucas's job. All right, we'll talk to you next week, buddy.
All right, see you, boys.
The one and only Buck Reising. All right, we come back. We do have phones and people on the phones. We can talk to you on the phones. It's Blaine and Mickey.
Yo.
Man, Christmas season is coming. You're probably wondering what to get yourself. I'll tell you what to get yourself. If you're a man or woman, you're dealing with the effects of hair loss, get your hair back. Don't even wait. Get it yourself for Thanksgiving. Don't even wait until Christmas. Do it today. Call PAI today. How about that? Maybe at Christmas time, you got all the pictures of the family, right? You look at the old family pictures and you think, man, look at all that hair I used to have in these pictures. Man, look. Or everybody starts talking about, it's when we all had hair. Ha, ha, ha. Well, guess what? You could be the one who still had your hair. But you got to call PAI. You can go to their website right now, wegrowhair.com. You can see real people and real results, and it's cutting-edge technology, and you can't afford to pay for it because they'll work with you on a payment plan. It's all out there for you, and it's all ready for you. But they can't help you if you don't call. I'm going to give you the number, 615-376-6010. That's the number for the best in the business when it comes to hair, PAI. And I'll tell you, once you call 615-376-6010 PAI, the only thing you'll regret is that you didn't call them sooner.
Play fake. Tannehill looking deep, throwing deep, and the pass is intercepted. Coming up with it, the Packers, and it is Douglas who picks it off and runs it back to the 34-yard line.
Blaine and Mickey, 1045, The Zone. Let's take some of these phone calls on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Chuck in Clarksville was up first and will be on first. Hello, Chuck. Thank you for checking in.
Hey, Mickey, just wanted to say congratulations to the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to nickname them the MASH 615s for the TV show MASH. The doctors keep changing, but they keep on winning.
MASH 615, I like it.
So I want to just say congrats out to the Titans, and I really feel for Todd Downing. He had such a great night last night to have this happen. I don't like all this play calling, but I don't want the man to have to go through what he's going to have to go through. So we'll say a prayer for him.
Appreciate it. Yep, no doubt about it.
Well, the MASH unit that is the Titans defense. You had Avery out there in the end getting significant snaps.
He was out there last game, too, by the way. Too.
Yes.
Yeah, and because I keep watching him, he's improved each and every time he's been out there. They threw him out there early in the season. He was not ready for that going against Diggs. Now he's lining up. He understands his responsibilities and making sure he's on top of what he's supposed to do and what he then gives up. So he was right there on, Lazard, the 13, right there on that fourth down play. Yeah, he had nowhere to go, and the guy actually just gave up. He stopped because he thought, hey, he ain't throwing to me. I'm covered. Yeah, see that? And I told you, I see something out of this dude. And maybe just a significant, not a huge role, but in emergency cases, he could hold the fort. And that's what emergency was. I mean, Fulton goes down.
It was an emergency, all right.
Yeah. And I was like, man, we're going to see Maben? I was like, oh, no, there's my man. Avery. Yeah. So I love it, man. Each and every person keeps stepping up on that defense. It's just pretty remarkable that they keep finding these guys, and then they go out there and execute. I mean, it's amazing, man. From John Robinson finding them to Vrabel getting them ready and the coaching staff. Oh man, it's impressive to watch.
Greg Maben had not played football since the preseason. He hasn't been anywhere.
Nobody picked him up,
and he played. He played last night. I mean, he knows the system because he's been here, but he hadn't played.
Right? Yeah,
So 73 guys have played for this team now when you include Maben and Lambeau, and there was another DB who played special teams last night. So that's 73 guys now. Let's get X in Antioch.
Pretty impressive.
Next on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Hello, X.
How y'all doing today, fellas?
Hey, man, we're doing great, man. Tighten up.
Yes, sir. Hey, with that offense that I think Blaine mentioned it earlier with the crybaby on the earlier show, but with that with that offense, do y'all think if we keep it at a consistent rate, like we could run the table in the AFC? Because I mean, to me, if Tannehill, I mean, he threw the interception, which was like, why would you throw the interception? But I mean, overall, he had a pretty good game. And then number two, far as Todd Downing, man, pray for the man and leave him alone. He had a hell of a good coaching call in game last night. I mean, he even had to bleep you Aaron Rodgers play at the end when he threw it to Traylon Burks, man. Yeah. Shout out to that receiving core last night. Tighten up. Y'all have a good day.
Yeah, appreciate the phone call, X. Well, you've been saying if this team can mount a passing attack, and you liked what you saw at the beginning of it last week, and you saw further evolution of it.
I was like, ooh.
You saw it evolve some more.
Yeah.
This is going to there is a counter punch.
It's a counter. And so that's going to bode well when they get in the playoffs, and they will be in the playoffs, if everybody, they get them past the first round with Henry. But then after that, you got to have some balance. And they do try to have balance, but I'm talking about threats. They were vertical threats here, different schemes, different running schemes too, by the way, kind of kept them off balance with Green Bay. So I really like what I saw from Woods' contribution to the tight ends, and naturally Burks coming into his own. And you know what I love? I saw his emotion on that deep ball right off the bat. So, being that he was injured and doing a lot of conditioning and film work and just trying to perfect his craft and be the best version of him, I think he saw what people were saying and what was missing on the team, and he's like, you know what? I can be that impact guy, because that made everybody else's job in the passing as receivers easier because they need him to make plays for them. And then Wood stepped. I mean, man, I was pleasantly encouraged by what I saw. Now, I don't know if the Green Bay Packers defense is not that good. Now, I know Alexander's a good player, and he beat him. I don't care if he was asleep at the wheel. That's his job. They threw deep, and he ran by him. I was really excited about that because that was, to me, was the only thing. And actually, in the playoffs, the quarterback has to turn the page. He has to, put the team on his back at certain points in time in the playoffs, especially the deeper you go. And at some point, he's got to rise. So we were going to see if he can. Now, there's a lot of great quarterbacks that don't have winning records in the playoffs. So we want to act like Tannehill is any different than anybody else. I think he's 2-3 or something like that in the playoffs, but he deserves the benefit of the doubt when we get him. That's why I like Tannehill. His accuracy, his efficiency, and he's more athletic than people want to give him. He hasn't shown that now because of the ankle and everything else. So I'm super pumped, and I'm not expecting that every game, but I'm expecting him to be somewhere in the neighborhood in the passing game if needed be.
Was there last night, that's for sure. All right, we'll get into this game more on the other side. We have no guests in the second hour of the program. We're going to call our shot before the end of the program. So you got a shot. You can go ahead and get in line with that. 615-737-1045. We've got 2 open lines. You want to talk Titans? Your opportunity is next. One of the things that I love about betting on the NFL is finding these player props or these game props that I like, and it's a very cool thing about FanDuel Sportsbook. You can combine these props with other bets from the same game, and you can score yourself an even bigger payout. It's perfect for, Sunday's action. For instance, I like Philly to cover versus Indy. I think all the fun starts to wear off. I like the Colts under as their team. I like a Miles Sanders touchdown, but you can make a parlay that you want on FanDuel. It's easy to use, and you get paid fast, and there's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet. So lock in one today on FanDuel Sportsbook. If you're new to FanDuel, you can sign up with the promo code Mickey for a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Again, that's promo code Mickey. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You got to be 21 or older, present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets. They expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. I feel like it's Monday because the Titans played last night and they won. And normally it's Victory Monday after a Sunday win, but it's Victory Friday. And what a victory, because, that's after 2 o'clock. It's probably a bunch of people already like, I'm leaving work. Just calling it a day. Start the weekend now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're right here at our campfire here in the studio. We're warming up, still thawing out from the Green Bay game.
Well, it looked cold on TV, that's for sure. With the snow falling. It looked nice, though.
It was cold.
Then you tweeted out the picture or put it on Insta of you in the game in '98. The Oilers went up there and played.
Oh,
it's you
yeah.
sacking Favre.
Yeah.
You said the ground was frozen.
It was
grass
funny,
was
because
frozen.
people asked me the questions that you asked, like, because I said on one of the posts that that was my only time playing in Lambeau. I was like, yeah. They were in the NFC. I was in the AFC, so we didn't play them on a regular occurrence. So it had to be the cycle, and like we played them again, but they're in green. I'm at home, but playing in Lambeau, I only got to play there one time. So that was really cool and unique, especially because it was Reggie White's last game there.
Wow,
which was really cool. And he ran around the stadium, but I wanted to spoil that. But yeah, what the late great Reggie White, man. Well, he was a great player, but great person, great human being. So that was a memorable moment. And then now they've expanded the stadium. That's why I was kind of asking Buck some of those things. A lot of people do the tour deal, so I want to do that. And it's really unique because they like bicycle out to where they do their practice fields, doing training camp, and they showed all the new things they added to the stadium as far as tour and their the Green Bay Hall of Fame.
I've been there.
Leroy
Amazing.
Butler.
Yeah.
That I hadn't been there when you were explaining that on air. I was like, wow, dang, I want to go there and see it myself.
Have you
They have
ever
their
got
own
never
Hall of
seen
Fame.
Have you
Yeah.
ever got to do the stadium tour before? Either one of you?
I've been to the stadium. He's played in the stadium. I didn't tour it, and it was after they had redone most of it when I was there, and I walked around. I toured it myself, but I've been there once for a game. Then I went up there once. I had a gig in Wisconsin. I was playing in Oshkosh, and the drummer,
superstar here.
the drummer and me, rented a car and drove just to go to Lambeau Field. We went to the Packers Hall of Fame.
Watch this. Did you break into there?
I broke into a garbage truck and took my picture because it had the G logo on the door. There's a picture of me I'm driving the garbage
where
truck.
he would go wherever he would go and take a picture on the field the day before and just walk in there and not break in because.
Oh, no,
usually
I've
there was
broken into stadiums.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at.
I knew he was a.
So I was wondering if you went to Lambeau. Like, I'm going to Lambeau. I'm
Sun
going the
Devil
day before.
Stadium, Old Veteran Stadium, the Old Cowboy Stadium.
Oh.
Tried to break into Rupp Arena once and wound up literally in the security office thinking I had gone in right now.
Ooh, that must have been the H-Town Mickey there.
Rode a bunch of elevators once at a Texas Rangers game, wound up in a kitchen on the club level.
Dang.
Got
and what
on
do
the
you
field
do? Just
once
say
after a Falcons game, saw Billy White shoes and said hello. Got a picture with him.
What happens if you get caught in those situations, though? Do you just say, oh, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be here?
I either say one of two things. I'm looking for my uncle. I learned that from a friend of mine in high school. He was like, man, if I ever get in trouble, I'll just say, hey, man, I'm looking for my uncle.
They fall for that?
Yes. So here's what I've learned, and kids don't do what I do. If you just walk with a purpose,
and act like you're supposed to be there,
where you're going,
Yep.
most of the time people don't ever question it. The Titans played the Falcons. This was several years ago. And after the game, I had a friend who was interning with the Titans at the time. And I said, I'm going to go say hey to Casey. And they said, how? I said, I'm going to walk right in that door. So I saw two people walking in with lanyards on, and I just started talking to them and walked right in the door with them. Then I saw Billy White shoes, stopped and talked to him. He used to work for the Falcons. He was an Oiler and a Falcon. Took a picture with him. Then I just kept walking. I saw an escalator, and I thought, I bet this goes down to the field. It did. I walked down to the field. Walked down to the locker room. I got all the way to the Titans locker room. The door opened up. My friend is in there. This is before I worked in the media. So when I was a real estate broker, the door opened up and my friend saw me and said, what are you doing here? And then the door closed. So then he comes running out. And I said, I don't know, man. I just walked down here and nobody stopped me.
That's the best.
So yeah, H-Town makes an appearance occasionally. But there's no violent H-Town. It was peaceful H-Town.
Yeah, well, there's
I'm
two
just out
versions
for a
of
walk.
H-Town.
Yes.
There's two versions, but it's still behind the scene. It's still the same person, though. That's what it is. Yeah, so you're going to a big-time game, though, right?
He's going to go with He's going with a famous wrestler to eat seafood and watch the Ravens
game.
game.
The Ravens-Panthers?
Yes.
I'm going to Ravens-Panthers this weekend. My buddy is accompanying me, and he came in there and put his fame on the table and was like, hey, Jimmy Seafood, can't wait to try your restaurant. And they hit us up with some VIP passes. So we're going to go to their big tailgate they do. Starts at 9 o'clock, games at 1.
It's in Carolina? Right.
It's in Baltimore.
Okay.
So it'll still be chilly up there, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely been in that stadium. Unfortunately, I don't know if I've ever won there. I think I got knocked out there one time.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I knocked myself out. I can't say that they
Who was on the other end of that?
They didn't get knocked out. Well, me and what was the guy's name from Florida, the running back? Eric Rett.
Eric Rett, yeah.
Eric Rett. People forget. Yeah, Eric Rett ran hard. He had a hard noggin because I tried to bump it. And I mean, when I say bump it, I tried to, and I got the wrong end of that stick. Let's just say that. It was a couple people there hitting, and I got the end of it. Yeah. Yep, I was like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
And for a minute there anyway.
Yeah, I was. Just for a play or two.
Titans offense, listen to this. Titans had 408 total yards last night against Green Bay. Green Bay had 271. Yes. Tannehill had 5 incompletions in the game. He was 22 of 27. He did have the ill-advised interception.
81%. 81.5. Let me put that 0.5 on there.
Put the hook on there. 333 yards. You had to go back to September of last year for him to have that many. Derrick Henry got 30 touches in the game. Mm-hmm. He ran for 87. Somebody was asking me, like, he ran 28 for 87. I said, let me tell you something. Here's something to think about, though.
Well, what the fans always care about is stats. But
the yards.
You're right. The yards is stats, yeah. So, but, Derrick Henry cares about is winning.
Right. And every time, those 28 times, that's like 35, 40 seconds off the clock every time he runs the ball.
I think that was the fastest first half I'd ever sat there and watched a game. I could not believe it. I said, man, the second quarter's almost over. I could not believe it. And I said, that means this game is in the favor of the Titans. It's immediately what came to mind. And, Tannehill had 2 TDs and an INT. Burke, 7 for 111. King, 28 for 87, as you mentioned. But he had 2 for 45 on the screen in the additions there. So, yeah, it was an all-around good day. And then naturally we talked about Hooper with the 2 TDs, Chig with the nice catch on the sidelines with his hands. There were some big plays all over the place. You could pat a lot of people on the back. And let me kind of go through. I know a lot of people keep talking about this INT that Tannehill received. And there, and I like the design of the play because I'm sure they saw something on film. What they did is they had a big personnel out there, and only one receiver went out, and only one receiver was out there. One receiver was out there, and he basically ran. I'm gonna call it a dig. Everybody understands what a dig was, like an L. All righty. The backside corner had one of the tight ends. Well, he blocked up, and guess who the DB coach of Green Bay is? My former DB coach. And I knew exactly what happened because this dude, Jerry Gray, is their DB coach. And he's been there the last 3 or 4 years. And he was the best DB coach I had. He was smart. And he was an All-American at Texas. And he also was an All-Pro in the NFL. And this guy, what that guy did, exactly what I always talk about. I get those words from him. Don't cover grass. Mm-hmm. So when he engaged, the Dyden engaged on the linebacker, he said, well, that's my guy. What we called push. Mm-hmm. You push. And he just took off and said, I'm running back deep to whoever comes across. And then Tannehill had no idea he would even be there.
Right.
That's what happened because in practice they may have seen, I don't know if it was that corner or another corner, that they just bit up and just stood there and just kind of covered grass. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you when they went in film, I could have told them that Jerry Gray would be like, what are you covering? Your job is to cover. Mm-hmm. Go help somebody. I used to say that all the time, and I still do today because I learned it, and we called it a push. And you keep pushing everybody down the road. Next thing you know, everybody's covered if they haven't put that many people out on the, in the route tree. And now how you circumvent that is that tight end needs to block and then release. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he does not. Yeah. So it was a one-man route. So that's the part when I say I like the concept, but maybe all the mechanism to make it work if someone does something outside of what you saw on film. Because it could have been a different corner. It could have been the same corner. In that game, he just didn't push. He didn't float and go, ooh. He just kind of stood there and bounced around. And
Isn't it crazy, though, that one little mechanism of the play could throw off everything?
When you're an offensive player.
Yes.
That's when it's timing. Everything got to work kind of on script. And it worked the majority of that game. in at least in the passing game, besides that one play. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty phenomenal, and I've been a, a Tannehill supporter. I know everybody wanted to get rid of him, and I just think he's efficient and he's in an offense that accentuates what he can be as well as he can deliver. Let's just see if he can do it in the playoffs. I'm not going to throw a guy under the bus one bad game. Granted, it was an opportunity that I was perturbed just as much as anybody else, but I'm not going to throw him under the bus. I want to see now, how do you respond to that? And I said before the season that this version of Tannehill is going to be better. Watch what I say. If he's any athletes in the NFL, any sport, they're at a competitive nature where they're creatures of, I'm going to show you. And that's the only part that worries me, is that he's going to try too hard and then it happens again. You have to get this happy medium where you're competing at this high level, but you're relaxed in what you're doing. So it seems like he's got his mojo. I mean, it was there earlier in the season because he definitely wasn't playing as well. Oh, he's playing better than last season, but he's not gotten to that 2 years ago yet. He's getting close, though, and he's just gotten back from an ankle injury. So sometimes when you're a veteran player, sitting on the side when you're hurt and watching the team play helps you be a better player. And we shall see if he continues this. Not to say he's not going to still throw some bad passes, but his consistency is, see if we can get it and then take that thing and drive it into the playoffs.
Yeah, that 333 yards, his biggest total, I believe, since September.
That looks huge, doesn't it, Mickey?
Of last year. Oh my gosh.
333.
When the other team puts 6 guys on the line of scrimmage and you can work them for 333 through the air, you can win a lot of games. That's that counter punch that you've been looking for. Mm-hmm. Let's counter punch our way into segment 2. Brian, Jordan, James, there's all kinds of people on the phones. We've got one line open. Whole next segment, we will take phone calls. We'll talk to you. We'll answer questions. It is your time now on this Victory Friday edition of Blaine and Mickey.
Serving the Southeast since 1966, Coolray Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical takes pride in being your one-stop shop for total home comfort. The team at Coolray also knows that the holiday season can be chaotic enough as it is. So with the shopping, food, preparation, hosting, and everything in between, that's why they're waiving the service fee at your next heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical visit requires a repair. That's peace of mind plus some extra money back in your pocket. And Coolray won't just send anyone to your home. All of their technicians, plumbers, and electricians are trained, state licensed, and trust certified, meaning you won't only have your problem fixed, you'll also experience great service along the way. So are you ready to finally fix that nagging issue you've been putting off, or the one that may have just popped up? Simply head to thenewcoolray.com to schedule your next visit online and on your own time, or browse their variety of open career opportunities. That's Coolray.com.
Tannehill is in the shotgun. Make that the pistol. Hands. Henry throws. Touchdown, Titans! Henry took the handoff and then hit Hooper with a jump pass for a big sixer.
Oh, man.
Wow!
Wow, yes. Wow in Lambeau. Wow in Lambeau.
Blaine and Mickey and Coach Mack, and of course the voice of the Titans, the Mike Keith.
The great Mike Keith.
That dang jump pass. Hey, man.
That's a tough deal now. He had to, and then he had to take it. He didn't take his glove off either, so he had to gather himself and pull it up. That's
You see him jump up above everybody, though? Look like LeBron up there?
I
And
thought
just
he was-
drop it down to him?
Yeah, he was just dropping it into the goal there for the basketball court. You know what I did see about Derrick Henry that I had never seen before? What do you think it was? If you made a guess. Never seen it before.
His passer rating, which is unbelievable.
That's a good guess. No. You got a guess, Robert? Bert?
No, I was going to think of something
You have a
clever,
guess?
but I'm
Okay,
all out of
you got
cleverness.
nothing. Okay.
All right. I had never seen Derrick Henry get so perturbed on the sideline when he didn't get it on 4th and 1. He had his helmet off, and he's up there banging on the bench. See, I told you, talking about this competitive, people have no idea. And then he had the Vader thing on, too, by the way. I don't know when he started wearing that because he hadn't been wearing that.
Yeah.
He had the Vader on. And then the running back coach is over there trying to get him to settle down. Like, hey, it's okay. We will get this handled. We don't want the king. The king get upset. He started making some changes around here.
He was hot.
Yeah, he was hot as fish grease. I had never seen it. I'd never seen him lose his cool like that. And I'm sure he's spoken, on the field and things, the nature. So I just, wow, it was just like he was that pissed. It was like, dang, I think I'm scared from over here. Or on my couch.
30 touches in the game, 30 touches, and threw 2 passes along with that.
Yeah, he said, didn't he have some record? He said he's setting so many more records. I think
10 touchdowns.
Kim put it out there. I think
He's got 10 touchdowns rushing again this season, and it's like him and 4 Hall of Famers and Michael Turner, if you remember him, to have 10 touchdowns rushing for 5 years in a row, I think is the one. I'd have to go back and look at Kim's Twitter.
Oh, but that was one of them. Yeah,
that was one of them. There's after every game, there's like 6 things. Or it's
Well,
like,
I was trying to think of, he was the first to throw a touchdown, run for a touchdown. Oh, no, he didn't catch one, though. He almost did if he would have returned that screen. Yeah.
That stat you were talking about, the touchdown that Henry got rushing was Henry's 10th touchdown of the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 5th straight season that he's reached that mark, and he became the 5th player in league history to accomplish that.
There you
got you.
But like one of them is Michael Turner, and everybody else is in the Hall of Fame, I believe. If people remember the Burner from Northern Illinois, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Michael Turner, a solid player. Now.
Michael the Burner Turner.
Yeah.
What a fantastic
He
nickname.
was 33, right, with the Falcons?
I believe so. I don't know if Ron in Pleasant View has a nickname like Burner, but he will join us next on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Ron, thank you for the phone call.
Hey, I appreciate it. Wanted to talk a little bit about injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Athletic trainers and the training staff there, I know they're about maintaining injuries and helping that fix, but they're also, in my opinion, supposed to be doing some injury prevention, and that doesn't seem to be going on over the past 3 years. And I'm wondering, they be held accountable? Because it seems like we are the most injured-prone football team in the NFL over the past 3 years, and I think there needs to be some accountability on the training staff. And I'll hang up and
Wait, well, hold on. What do you mean injury
Yeah.
prevention? How do we know that they're not doing that?
Well, I don't know, but it
okay.
seems like our team
Injuries.
seems to be more injured-prone than other
Mhm.
teams,
Mhm.
and it just seems like, and I know injuries are going to happen, but
Right.
my son played college Division I. And injury prevention was part of, stretching, the cool downs, the warm ups, everything in between before games. And, you try to prevent injuries as well. And it just seems like we have been so injured prone for 3 years. I get unlucky, but this seems to be more beyond unlucky. And I could be totally wrong, which is why I was calling in to kind of get your take on it.
Yeah. No,
Ron,
I
thanks for the phone
think it's a
call.
great question because I don't think anyone knows the answer. I would say just from watching them for so long, I know nothing about what they're teaching them or trying to do prevent. I would assume that they are doing that. Now it's up to the players to actually follow through on things. And I've talked about myself is that should be part of your routine is rehab. And when I say rehab is doing all the smaller muscles, smaller detailed things on your own outside of what you're doing for your workout for your team. And that's also during the off season with whoever your trainer is, with everybody having trainers. But one thing I could add to that is I think is why the Titans are always having a lot of injuries is because of their style of play. I think they're the most physical team in the National Football League. And if you listen to the broadcasters for every game, they are saying that in many different ways. And I think that's why. And then, these guys are bigger, stronger, faster than my dime. And so I think all of that is part of it. And I think the league is also doing a better job of making sure that you're not playing with an injury that could actually get worse or make you play through something that could affect you later down the road. So I think there's a lot of variables here to really say and hold on. One of them, all I can say is that the Titans probably are the most physical team in the National Football League, and that's going to happen. If you're selling out every single play like that, you're going to have injuries.
They are the most physical team. They prove it every week. It certainly did prove it on a cold night in Green Bay. Jordan in Nashville up next. I think he wants to talk about the Titans quarterback who had a big night in Green Bay. What's up, Jordan?
Hey, what's up, guys? Shout out to Blaine. We love you.
Appreciate you.
What's it called? So I think that the game last night definitely sort of quelled all of the issues people had after the Bengals game in terms of Tannehill potentially being the guy. I mean, he looked sharp as a tack last night. That pass to Hooper was a dime. I mean, the offense was firing. I mean, that was great. And that's all I have. I think we could do it. Tannehill seems to be the guy to do it.
You get the Bengals up next.
Yeah.
You get to see the Bengals
that's something
again.
we could ask the fans. Are they so now back on the Tannehill bandwagon?
Dun, dun, dun. That's a good question.
Yeah. Because I've been there holding. All I want to see him do is do it in the playoffs. It really, and it doesn't even have to be to that level that he did against Green Bay because the stakes going to be different, all eyeballs, and better team, and just all those things. But I think he can do it. I think he has those he has the traits, and until you do it, do you believe that you can do it? So I think that's just what this is all about. He's revving up. I think he's going to show that he can, and so I'm just hoping that he don't want it too much because then that could then hurt you.
Squeeze it too tight, so to speak.
Yeah.
James in Madison, I think he might want to go along that line of discussion on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Hey, James, thanks for calling.
Good questions, though.
Man, yeah, you got it. You got it right on. How y'all doing today? Feeling good on a Friday?
Oh, yeah. It's
man.
Friday, man.
Victory
We're
Friday.
already on Victory Friday.
Yeah, it's rare to have one on a Friday, so it feels really good, like cruising into the weekend with like a win. And, it's just like, my thought at the beginning of the season is I was like, man, I think the Titans are in like a soft rebuild. Maybe we have our quarterback of the future. But it's like they just continue to defy expectations, and the defense is just playing lights out. And it's like now, I mean, it's like we're talking about Super Bowl window still. It's like I thought after losing AJ, it's like maybe the Super Bowl window was kind of closing, and we're like moving into just staying solid but not being a legitimate contender. But the way Tannehill played last night, plus the defense playing like that, it's just like, I mean, we really do have a perennial Super Bowl contender the way that they're coached and the way that they show up. And their chemistry is just like, it's a good time to be a Titans fan. And it's just to get a win like that on national television, like that is a quintessential statement win for the Titans. I think of the Buffalo game last year with the fourth down stop against Josh Allen, another signature win on national television. It's like, and every time people start to count us out, it's like, we've been winning ugly, but we've been winning, and now it's like we're rolling into winter football, and here the Titans are, and all the national media's got us on like their discussion list for top of the AFC, and it's like, is this the year that we're finally going to put it together and get like a Derrick Henry type playoff run where he has those 200-yard games in the playoffs, but then Tannehill isn't the one who costs us, he's the one who gets us over the hump when we need him to. Like, I could see it happening. I just believe more than I have this season, and it's just like, I mean, we could see that window expand into next year too if Derrick Henry still got miles on the track. So
appreciate the phone call. Yeah, Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill both under contract next year, so that window's still open next year.
Yeah.
My
It
opinion
makes
as
me
well for
believe
both
that
of those guys.
it could. Here's one thing I'm going to say about the Titans. I haven't said this, is that, man, I think the Titans team under Vrabel, and this is over his time here, and I think this is why they can plug and play so easily and get the same results. And it kind of teaches you, make you think you can play without some of these big, heavy Pro Bowl type players. And, the Duprees and Simmons and everybody else, and Tannehill too, by the way, is their effort, their discipline, and they're the best coach on this factor, fundamentals. And he will not relent that you are fundamentally sound in your responsibility on every play. That doesn't mean you can go get beat, because, you can miss a tackle, let's just use defense, or you may get jumped over and make a play. But if you just do your assignment, what we're asking you, then play hard and physical with the effort that we want, we're going to be fine, and we're going to be in every game because I'm coaching you. Yeah. And I think that's the Vrabel way.
Let's get the Mitchell way next on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Hey, Mitchell, thanks for calling Blaine and Mickey.
I love that, though.
Hey, guys, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Great.
I'm doing pretty good. Listen, so Treylon Burks, 7 receptions, 111 yards. He had a great game.
Mm-hmm.
But he, you can see his confidence is building as the season goes on, and his chemistry with Tannehill. But since A.J. Brown left, there's still a gap in our receiving core. Do you think it's possible that he's the one to replace him?
Appreciate the phone call. Well, I mean, people can say that he wasn't, but he was drafted to replace him.
All right. Now,
not immediately, but
well, yeah, he is replacing him. But do we think we're going to get the production of a 3 or 4 year guy to a first year rookie guy? No. So what you want to do is try to get, basically what A.J. Brown was his rookie season, and see if you can get a little bit of the same production with, hopefully doing it with committee and not just one player. But we have to have a guy that can change the game to a certain extent. And I think he's the guy with that kind of ability that could potentially be that guy. So I wasn't expecting him to be A.J. Brown. I know everybody else probably were because they drafted him to be that guy. But I was expecting him to contribute and be a factor in one-on-one with his athleticism and his speed. That's why you go first round. You have special gifts, and that you can impact the game at some point in time, and then that would make the other receivers' job better. That's exactly what this game looked like.
And we talk about this all the time. A guy playing to his level. Like if you're a 3 and you're playing against a number 3, when Burks plays like a number 1, well, guess what? That means Robert Woods becomes number 2
in NWI,
and then becomes number 3.
And then now we're winning. We're winning this thing now.
Yep.
Because he's going to be the majority of the number 3 corners.
Yep.
See, so that's why I keep saying that he's, temporarily he could do a 2 in NWI, and Burks just has to perform. So that first catch, I think, got him loose. Deep ball. I didn't even understand what they were doing on defense there for the Green Bay Packers standpoint. How does somebody not in the deep middle? They were playing like robber, and the other guy came down, and then you leave the corner like running on a seam route, going on a go at an angle. I'm like, man, nobody would have been there. I don't know if Deion Sanders would be able to cover that dude on that play. That's so hard. You can't get your hands on him. Then you just turn and running. Come on, man. He just dropped it right in the bucket. Boom. Tannehill on the money. Yeah, so it was great to see, though.
Let's get another phone call. Brian in Nashville. Brian, thanks for calling Blaine and Mickey.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
Great.
All right.
Victory Friday.
First of all, I hope we can stop talking about a guy that don't play for us no more one of these days. Second of all, do y'all think it's possible that Todd Downing didn't call that game last night? Somebody else called the game. Because we didn't see any characteristics of Todd Downing other than the jump pass from Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So it's possible that the pass offensive dude they brought in for the pass offense called that game last night. I didn't see anything of Todd Downing last night. So maybe that's what the drinking was about, and he might feel threatened.
Oh,
Brian, come on, man. Come on. Oh, man.
So you definitely weren't in the Downing camp. You were in the spit the Downing out and fire him camp. I definitely do not believe that. but I have no proof, so he could be right. I just thought that they didn't get behind the chains, and so then the rhythm and flow of the offense flowed like it had never before this season, and everything just kind of clicked, and the right pieces to the puzzle were there. With Burks, it was aligned, is what I'm really saying. With Woods as the 2, NWI contributing as a 3 or 2 sometimes, depending on what, and then the tight ends were being effective. And the key cog of it all still is the king. Mm-hmm. Everybody is adjusting their defense, even if he's getting the ball or not getting the ball, even if he's throwing the ball or not throwing the ball, their goal is to stop him. And they are doing it in different fashions, and he's happy with the win. He still got 80 yards on, 20 carries or whatever it was. And all Derrick Henry cares about is winning. He didn't care about, all the yardage. So a win's a win, and they did it decisively, though, against the Green Bay Packers. Then you could say they have a losing record. I don't know how good
they got the number 9 overall defense. You asked me earlier.
Number 9 defense, right? And they have Aaron Rodgers. Regardless, I know he missed about 4 or 5 passes that I thought he should have made, 2 or 3 for sure. That he just missed a guy. I don't know about his finger and all that. It's excuses. He's Aaron Rodgers. I saw him drop it in the bucket numerous times where the receiver just looked up and hit him dead in the bicep. Boom. Like, whoa, dang, the DB was in great coverage. What could he have done?
That one down the right sideline.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about.
Crook of the guy's arm.
Yeah. I was just like,
what?
Oh, yeah, that was incredible. So, hey, I think he made the calls and things just aligned. With no behind the chains. And all those plays that they ran, they were kind of, let's give it the trickeration plays or the speed sweep they gave to Traylon Burks. They had done all those things before individually in games. Mm-hmm. It's just all of a sudden he kind of combined it all in one game, and it just looked great. Even their offense. If I was sitting at home as a receiver, I'd be like, well, hey, man, I want to play in that offense. Yeah. I would have never thought I'd have said that.
Before. No.
I never would have said that.
Said the opposite before.
Yeah, they ain't going to throw the ball. They ain't going to throw the ball. Yeah, well, that there looked kind of fun. So how about this? I'm going to go the opposite direction of the caller. I'm going to go maybe Downing was let loose and got to call all the calls. And because it was a short week, Mr. Vrabel didn't stick his nose on the offense. He made sure he got that defense right. He was just managing the game. I don't know. Because at the end of the day, we all must not forget, we're not on the headsets, but the head coach is on offense and defense. And he can say no, and he can tell them what to call. Or he can say run, pass, run. So just think about if somebody told you what to do every single moment of your job. How would that make you feel, and would you be as good at your job if you felt like you should be doing something else? So until we know those answers, and we'll never know that answer. So I think free will. I think he was making all the calls.
If you want to make any more calls to us, you can do it. 615-737-1045. It's time to call our shot next. We'll also try to sneak in a couple more of these phone calls. You can hit us in the Zone TV chat on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey, or just the regular old phone line, 615-737-1045. Call your shot next on this Friday Victory Edition.
Convert third downs.
Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That's because right now new customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's right, free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. You just got to sign up with the promo code Mickey. That's it. Like maybe you're like me and you think that Colts bubble bursts against the Eagles this weekend. I do. That's the way I'm going to go. But FanDuel, they've got all your favorite bets, money line, point spreads from all your favorite sports. You can live bet games. And here's the thing. When you win on FanDuel, they don't mess around. They pay you fast. And it's all on an app that's safe and secure and so super easy to use that, yes, even I can use it. So sign up today with the promo code Mickey for your no-sweat first bet. Again, promo code Mickey. Yeah, MICKEY, just like the mouse. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You do have to be 21 or older. Present in Tennessee, first online real money wager. Only refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
That's social media.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. We got to get this karaoke version of AC/DC out of the box. I don't know how this has survived. I've asked every person who's ever produced a show and played it, hey, we got to get this out
I
of
had
here.
no idea it was the karaoke version.
I don't know how this got in here. Maybe it's that's a karaoke version.
100% it is.
Yes,
but
this is not AC/DC. This was not Back in Black. This was not produced by Mutt Lang.
No,
when we're done, as soon as this fades out, just erase it. Just you could be the man. You could do. I've been here 8+ years.
You
and that's been
just
playing for
blown
8
your
years.
shot to
and
take Bert's spot.
Yeah. Sorry. By the way, those who aren't listening, I'm in for Bert now. So
Yes, Brett Batchelor, our
who is a
golf
bachelor.
expert. I don't have any golf questions today. Normally, when Brett jumps in the studio or comes on with us, we always have a golf question. Just before we call our shots, you got any golf questions? Because here's all the answers.
I have a golf stat.
I want to hear it.
You currently have Auburn, who's number 1 in the country in men's golf. Vanderbilt right down the road, number 2. Tennessee, number 3. You have 3 SEC teams in the top 8. I'm sorry, Tennessee is 8th. You have 3 SEC teams in the top 8 in the country for men's golf.
Wow.
Boy.
Nice.
Powerhouse programs.
Yeah, he's very good.
Georgia's in there. Alabama's in there. Texas A&M is in there. So you have at least 6 that are in the top 16 in the country.
You played at Montevallo. I'm
Correct.
sure you guys had the same deal. Like at Arkansas State in baseball, we'd play in the non-con. Like Toledo would come down.
Yes.
Then some school I've never heard of from Massachusetts, and then some other school from North Dakota, and I'd be like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "You think we can play baseball at home right now?" We scheduled a road trip. We're playing like 5 series down here.
Yeah, we had. I mean, our tournament would always be in the spring. Sometimes we would host it like late in the fall. But our tournament that was late in the fall, you'd have schools from North Carolina come down and play. Schools from Virginia come and play. We played a tournament in North Carolina one time in February in like northern North Carolina, freezing cold. So totally different weather.
You're young. You should be fine.
It was fun. So
Brett Batchelor. All right, time to call our shot. Brought to you by Chattanooga Whiskey 91, an award-winning small batch bourbon, and the only Tennessee high malt featuring tasting notes of toasted honey and graham cracker. It is a real winner. It is available at your local retail store. Maybe you will enjoy some responsibly, of course. This weekend, time to call our shot. Blaine Bishop. Brett, I know you just snuck in here. You got a shot you want to call? Lucas always calls one.
I got 2 quick ones real quick.
Oh, wow. You were prepared for this. Okay.
Be quick.
The Lady Vols had a rough start. Started 1-2. They play tomorrow again against Rutgers. They're going to get back on track, pick up a win over Rutgers. World Cup starts this weekend. USA plays Monday against Wales. USA will win their first game in the group stage in the World Cup.
I'm hoping the basketball picks it up against those Big Ten schools.
It was a rough start. They lost to Ohio State, too. It was a rough start for the Lady Vols.
My shot is going to go with I'm always topical, so I'm going to go that Todd Downing does not get suspended.
Yeah, right.
He will have some form of a punishment, but I just don't know if I don't think he'll get suspended.
And, of course, if you're just joining us, the news of Todd Downing, Titans OC, being arrested last night. Mike Vrabel
this morning.
This morning early, yes. Mike Vrabel gave a brief statement today, essentially said they're cooperating with the league and everybody's talked to everybody. We can't find any precedent of a coach being suspended for this. There was a Jets assistant who was arrested for a DUI, and there's no record. There were a lot of articles written, he's going to get suspended, he's subject to discipline. There's nothing that ever followed up that he did.
Right.
So can't find any record. It's a situation we will monitor, obviously, and we'll let you know things as we know things about that. Here's mine. USC is now what, 7 in the CFP?
In the rankings, yeah.
Is that right?
Somewhere
7.
around
They are 7th in the rankings. So a lot of people kind of keeping an eye on the Pac-12. Vol fans especially, like, I want USC to win out because that'd be a one-loss Pac-12 champion. I think UCLA is going to get them this weekend. No conference sabotages itself every year like the Pac-12.
So UCLA is going to take them down.
I think UCLA is going to take them down. UCLA runs for 240 a game.
Ooh, that's including quarterback, right?
At that quarterback too.
Yeah, he can run.
He can run, and I think they're going to run it on USC. That's a color-on-color game. Like USC wears red and UCLA wears blue. It's a beautiful game to watch, and I know a bunch of y'all don't like, hey, stay up and watch that game. Well, I don't even know when it is. Maybe it's in the afternoon. I don't know. I'll have to double-check the time. But if it's late, watch it anyway. That ought to be a fun one. But I think UCLA is going to get them.
So, back this up. Back this train up. So you believe that USC, if they did win this game, then can move up in the ranking? Because, like, I don't think they're ever going to be part of this equation.
I don't think so, but there are some people who think that
even if
will
they
be
win the Pac-12. I just don't think they're going to.
I agree with you, but I have seen all kinds of speculation.
I know.
Like,
People
whoa,
have.
hey, they're
Right.
on the table.
Right.
You got to put them in there. I don't think so.
7 p.m. kick on Fox.
Okay, 7 p.m. See, it's going to be nice. Some nice nighttime football watching for you. Let's take one last phone call. Who
UT play at night?
Been on the longest here? Let's get
UT.
What time did Tennessee and South Carolina?
6 o'clock, I believe, on
Exactly.
ESPN.
Oh, never mind.
I
Don't
believe.
watch that. You can flip back and forth.
That's what I mean.
I thought they played in the afternoon.
No,
My
Let me.
bad.
I'll
Play
confirm
at
it
night.
real quick. It's
they confirm.
6
They
o'clock
play
on
at
ESPN.
night.
Confirmed.
Yeah, that's South Carolina.
Tennessee is 22-point favorite on this?
Are they?
They are a huge favorite over South Carolina.
Yeah, but I think they got this one.
22. Oh man.
Come on, we can get it. Uh-oh.
Kyle and Savannah. Hey,
Quick.
You got like 15 seconds, Kyle. What you got?
Damn. All right. I have a bone to pick with Blaine. It's about his thoughts on the kicker or punt return duty of Robert Woods. Did Robert Woods punt return last night?
No, Board did.
Thank God. Because look at his production. Look at where he's been since this last game. He did not return punts.
Yeah, the last two games he had more production, right?
Yeah, correct. I believe that's what is needed from the coaching staff is like get your best players in better positions and let the lesser players. Hopefully, Kyle Phillips will be coming back. That's the guy. That's what me call my shot. Kyle Phillips takes over the punt return duty and gets it done.
Well, I just want somebody back there that can secure the punt. So I think that's why Robert Woods. I've never been a big proponent of a starter being back there returning punts at any position, but they had no choice because he was the only guy that was consistently catching them.
That was it.
So now that they got somebody else, they're good to go.
All right. Don't watch that other game. Listen to the Vols right here on the Zone.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Oh, well, that's what we're going to be doing anyway.
Orange helmets, too, by the way.
Orange helmets,
I can't wait. You like those orange helmets? Yeah, those
awesome.
things rock.
Yeah.
And you know what else rocks? 3HL. They're coming up next. Oh, they're going to have some fun with you this afternoon.
Yeah. But in the meantime.
In between time, peace.